EMS answering a call where they're taking care of a loved one, or you have a firefighter who is responding to a critical incident where he is, using the jaws of life to get somebody out of a vehicle, or you have a police officer who is responding to a domestic violence call and endangering their lives, and you have these situations every day, but we don't ever hear the stories. You just hear the little blurb that comes out in the newspaper, and you don't know the story behind the story. So tonight we have a very special guest. Where is she? Betsy? Joe Lockett. If you would please come up. Most people that have a story don't want to come tell it because they don't like to speak publicly. So she was not afraid to do that, and we're very thankful. And she's going to tell her story about the amazing responders we have in Marshall County.
Wow, I feel special. Thank you, Misty, for giving me the opportunity to do this, because you always hear about first responders, you don't realize what that entails a lot more than just an EMT or paramedics, dispatch, fire department, our officers, police officers. Yes, my name is Betsy Lockett, and I have two boys. One's 17, Derek Lockett, he's in the back, and I have a son that's 24. I've lived in Marshall County a total of 20 years. And one thing I do know about this county is there are a lot of accidents where there's a lot of young lives lost. And I know a lot of you all have had to see that firsthand, unfortunately. And we always talk about how, as parents, we don't want to get that knock on the door and in the middle of the night. And this summer I had to experience that, and there was a few things about the whole ordeal that stood out to me. Not only that my son survived along with his two other friends, they lost their best friend Taylor Lay on July 25th. I had just gotten home from an afternoon to midnight class at West Kentucky Tech training. It was about midnight 30. I got home, and I knew Derek was going to be spending the night with his friend Taylor. And I had just texted him good night, told him thank you for leaving the porch light on, and he texted me back. And I told him I loved him. And then about 15 minutes later, I hear a knock on my door. And it wasn't a knock like a casual knock. It was a very fierce type knock, as if that made my heart drop. I suppose you have a weapon in your house to help you. Didn't make me feel any better. I didn't know who it was. So I just kind of thought they would go away. And this is one thing I want to reiterate on a call like this, that a Calvert City police officer drove 10 miles out of his way all the way to Sharp that morning at 1:30 to deliver a message to me, because all the other officers, Mark Valentine and Nathan Maxlow, I believe, Officer Peck, I believe it was his last name, had to drive all the way to my house because he had gotten word of it, and my son lost his phone, or it was missing, and I just didn't want to answer the door. I literally wasn't going to answer it, but I can tell you right now, they're not going to give up. I thought they were going to knock my door down. So I finally just opened the door, and as a mother, you don't know why that cop is there. Maybe in my mind I'm thinking, wow, what have I done? I haven't done anything. But they do what they're supposed to do. They deliver you the news, but they don't tell you everything because they have a protocol they go through. I didn't know that my son's best friend was killed. I was told, he asked my name and confirmed it. I confirmed that Derek was my son, and he asked me if I was okay to drive. He stayed there with me until I got my clothes on and ready, and he was gonna. And if I didn't feel like I could drive, he would have driven me all the way there. And keep in mind, he's a Calvert City police officer leaving his post, and I do believe he would have driven me there. But I was okay. I kept it together. But I knew my son was alive, but I did not know. Whenever I got there, um, when I first saw Derek, and as a mother, you see your son and he's breathing, but then you find out that one of his best friend was killed, Taylor Lane. He was 15. Yes, he was close to being 16, but yes, he was driving. Unfortunately, it was just inexperienced driving and a back road. These back roads in Marshall County, they're not the best roads. One thing as a mother, I will tell you, when Derek got his driver's license, seeing him plow that driveway every day, you just have to have faith in God that you're going to see your kid come back home. But I got that knock on the door that night, and I was lucky and blessed because when I got to the hospital, I got to see my son, and he told me himself, he said, Mom, Taylor died. And then you don't even really know all the details behind it yet. You're just trying to absorb it. So I just couldn't believe it. And this car wreck, I know Sergeant Valentine, I'm not sure where he is at right now in here, but he has told me in 36 years, I believe, that they've never seen an accident so bad where anyone survived this accident. The car was cut in two. How did 3 boys survive? Cameron McEllery, Dustin Pope, and Derek. And their friend Taylor did not. We don't know. And there's always that question, and Sergeant Valentine, I want to reiterate on his way he interacted with those boys was like a father. And these boys were scared too. You know, they had to do a follow-up meeting, you know, for the report. And it was just scary. And Sergeant Valentine made it so easy. It's like he spoke to them with like a care of a father. He was concerned about their health. You know, my son suffered a couple of fractures in his back. You know, the others were, you know, beat up and banged up and everything. They were lucky. I mean, they were ejected 30 feet out of a car. But I was so impressed with the teamwork that night of a Calvert City police officer. I know that there's not very many in that area at that time of night, and he drove all the way to my house. And then you have, I just can't say enough about Mark Valentine and how he handled this whole thing, because it made a big difference in how the youth and the teenagers viewed the law. I think that a lot of them just see them as, oh, it's the law, you know, we're driving now, they're going to get us, you know, or whatever. But I think he made a real good impression on them. He did on me, because I never thought I'd find myself in that situation. And unfortunately, you know, this mother lost her son that night, and I'll never know what that's like, you know, hopefully not. I mean, I don't now. But the way the whole ordeal went down that night, it was very organized. I do believe it was teamwork and team effort. And I want to thank the dispatchers. I want to say this real quick. The dispatchers are a very big part of this whole operation. They're like the heart that beats the, you know, pumps the blood out through your body. They are the ones that get the information to every responder, and it's how they communicate it. And I really want to thank everyone that was involved, from the people that the kids went to their house that night to get the police or to call 911 to all the way up until the final report. Everybody in this county that was involved in that really did a good job, and I'm very, very proud to say that I live here in this county, and it's a very wonderful place to live. And I just want to thank everyone for allowing me to speak. And Misty. Yeah. Right now, I need Dustin Pote and Derek Lockett to come up front for a second, please.
Mark, could you come up here, please? So needless to say, our first hometown hero nomination of the evening went to Mark Valentine for his efforts. Thank you. Our next hometown hero nomination was for Valerie West. As many of you know, her son